All right, this is Honors Algebra 2 Pre-Calculus. We're doing section 10.2 in Pre-Calculus, which is Parabolae as conics, right? So in example 3, we have a parabola that has focus 3, 2 and directrix x equals -1. We're asked to write the equation in standard form. Okay, so again, the best thing you can do here is get a visual. It doesn't have to be a great visual. You don't have to be awesome at graphing, but let's walk through what this looks like a little bit. So here's my coordinate axes, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Here is my focus. And at x is -1, here is my directrix. Well, here's why that matters, okay? I know a couple things by looking at this. Thing number one that I know is that the vertex should fall right in between these two. So along this line, right, where y is 2, halfway between them. So from -1 to 3, well, halfway between would be at 1. That should be my vertex, right? So I can get from this visual, first thing, that the vertex, h comma k, should be 1 comma 2, meaning h is 1 and k is 2, right? The second piece of information I can get from this is that p is the measurement from 1 to 3 or from -1 to 1. Either way, p is 2. Second piece of information I get is that p is either a plus or -2, and we'll talk about which next, okay? So we'll talk about which one. I put a question mark. I know which, but I want to point out that you might not know which at this point, and that's okay. The third piece of information I can get from this is I can see which way it bends, and that's going to answer my question about positive or negative. Our graph always bends around the focus. Remember, like an audience turns to focus on something, right? So since this is bending to the right, so right and up are the two things that mean p are positive, and that makes sense because on the Cartesian coordinates, right is positive and so is up. So I can see that it bends to the right, and that means that the answer is actually p is a positive 2, right? So I counted those as two different pieces of information because you're actually inferring two pieces of information from that. Once I know all that stuff, I can go ahead and write my equation. That's really all I need. So oh, sorry, I lied. There's one more thing you should notice. The fourth thing that you should notice is that because it's bending to the right, it's y squared, right? So that's not our typical parabola that we see in like algebra 1 or algebra 2. So I say, cool, so I want the y minus k quantity squared equals 4p x minus h. Remember, the y always goes with k because k is the y coordinate of the vertex. So I'm going to get y minus 2 quantity squared equals, well, I now know p is a positive 2, so that's going to be an 8x minus a 1. And that is my parabola in standard form. Cool.